Shit, I got a man, his throat's been cut to hell. He said his son's been shot 3 times, is buried in a grave.
This story out of Alabama is blowing up, and it was all caught on video. It all started in Montgomery on Saturday evening around 7 p.m. after a dock worker reportedly asked a group of boaters to move their pontoon boat so the riverboat that actually belongs there could dock. They refused, and what ensued was an all-out WWE-style brawl, folding chairs and all. As people watch on, the boat's owner comes over to confront the dock worker, and it seems civil for a while. Until the first punch is thrown and all hell breaks loose. The dock worker tosses off his hat and fights back. He's outnumbered at first, but not for long. More dock staffers come to help him, one even jumping into the water from another boat to give an assist. The internet has dubbed that guy Michael B. Phelps, by the way. Moments later, even more people join in and start going at it.
I was up a minute ago.
Yeah! Woo! 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 They scared! Look at them! They scared! Woo! Beat their ass! Woo! Oh my God! Woo! That what you get! That what you get! That what you get! Oh! Tear her ass up! She whooping her ass! She finna put her in the water!
In the water!
In the water!
The fight develops along racial lines, as the boaters were white and the dock workers and others fighting against the boaters were black. As the fight continues, this guy attacks multiple people with a chair. Police eventually swoop in and stop the fight, cuffing the guy with the chair, and moments later, a few of the white guys can be seen in handcuffs too. Montgomery police said 4 warrants have been issued, with more likely to follow.
You know, shit, I got a man, his throat's been cut to hell. He said his son's been shot 3 times, is buried in a grave, and he wants to go get him.
Butch was a single father. He owned a used car lot and was...
All I can say is the beginning of this is holy smoly. This sounds like it's about to get crazy. Hey, shout out to that guy, that chapter. You know, this is very disturbing to hear somebody say they kid is like this and son da.
And was doing the best for his son. That evening, as bedtime was, approaching at around 10 p.m., Butch heard a knock on his front door. So when he went over, opened the door, he saw it was the cops. The Rozzers at this time of day, they flashed badges and shoved a warrant in his face, saying he was under arrest for drugs possession. He vigorously denied, but they cuffed him, taking him out of his house to a white Crown Victoria parked outside. Once there, Butch asked what to do about his son, who was alone in the house. Then, the 2 cops went back to the house and cuffed the 12-year-old boy and put him in the back of the car beside his old man, and out to where Route 431 was being constructed. They then parked the car, turned around and asked him about a safe they thought he had in his house, containing about 100 grand. So they then drove all the way back to his house. Butch gave them 40 grand he had in cash hidden in his closet, and then again the 4 of them drove back to the construction site. Now this time...
Man, now this is crazy. He done gave them folks $40,000. You don't give them type of people no money and you being held against your will.
This time, the 4 of them got out of the car. They walked and saw they had already dug a grave. One of the men then slit Butch's neck wide open, ear to ear. And, after young Brett pled for his father's life, the other man shot Brett 3 times in the head. Brett was then thrown into the grave. Butch's throat cut open again, and he too was tossed in, rolling onto his son's body. And the 2 men started throwing dirt in the hole. Only Butch wasn't dead. He managed, with his throat cut, to dig himself and his son out. Unfortunately, young Brett was already gone. Butch, covered in blood and dirt, holding his throat together with his hands, somehow managed to stumble in the dark through the thorns and bushes to a nearby road. and attempted to flag down a passing motorist. One finally stopped and 911 were called.
My condolences goes to that guy, to him and his son, and the people that love him. That got to be something very bad to go through. And to have to pull yourself out, see your baby boy the way he is, because of these crooked, dirty bastards, whoever they is. Man.
911, what's your emergency? I got a guy standing on the side of the road, and he's bleeding really bad, and they said he's sad, and they said somebody killed his son.
He refused to leave until they found his son.
Sir, you got any idea what's your name? Come here, come here. The ambulance is here, sir. Hold on. Right there.
My boys were shot 3 times.
Okay, hold on, sir, hold on. Okay, ambulance is here.
I'll get my boys first.
All right. All right, sir, hold on real quick. No shit. I got a man, his throat's been cut to hell. He said his son's been shot 3 times, is buried in a grave down here at Uchi, and he wants to go get him. He was buried and dug himself out.
Butch was so worked up, his throat was still cut open, that the only way he would let them treat him was when they said to him, listen, if you die, and you will, if you don't let us treat you, then the people who did this will get away. That very night, Butch was able to give the police a description.
Is anybody at your home?
No, they got keys in my house. They're probably not be in it.
Okay.
Phoenix police were immediately alerted and went straight to the Boyer home. After less than 30 minutes surveilling the home, a white Crown Vic drove past, with a man named Michael Carruth inside. They followed him, and he was arrested. And inside the white Crown Vic, they found handcuffs, police uniforms, a shitload of money, and blood. 43-year-old Michael Carruth denied having anything to do with, well, anything.
If you got all that type of stuff, that's point blank evidence. Point blank evidence right there, you feel me? Just for the simple fact, you got fucking money, cuffs, car. And then my man seen what y'all look like, so it's not like he didn't know who the fuck y'all was, because evidently he knew exactly who y'all were, and he was able to tell the police where y'all was, and that's how this situation came right here.
Anything. He didn't confess, as I said, he denied any involvement. He was just, going for a late night drive. You know yourself, sure.
But you know and I know that I have not harmed anybody. You know that and I know that. I'm not even asking you to agree or disagree. I know in my heart what I did or did not do. Okay, and I can live with myself.
This was because, well, he thought there were no witnesses. He thought Butch was dead, which I think would be a logical assumption. Butch being alive came as a surprise, you might say, to Michael. Butch was also able to tell the authorities that he recognized one of those 2 lads.
Who shot you? Who did this?
My repo man's son.
Sir, who did this?
Jim,
Jim who?
Thanks for asking. I'll think of him in a minute. Jim Brooks.
Brooks?
It's not Jim. It's not a dad. It's a son.
It was Jimmy Brooks Jr., the son of a repo man Butch employed from time to time at his used car lot. Jimmy Brooks was quickly caught too. Caught while burning the clothing he had worn the night before. He confessed pretty quickly. Jimmy was a small-time criminal, had 6 counts of breaking and entering cars and vehicles. So, Jimmy felt like he owed him for bailing him out, and would help him out, in whatever little scheme he needed to do, He had paid 35 grand, so, hey, he owed him that much at least. Also, though, Michael Carruth kind of told him, you don't really have a choice. You're helping me out. Jimmy wasn't a victim here, though. He wasn't, strong-armed into doing these things. He was more than willing.
So he comes to you, tells you gotta pay him, or he's gonna lock you up.
Right.
And you say, okay, I'm doing the best I can.
Exactly.
And then he says, well, he's gonna think of something for you to make money, and he'll come get you, tell you what it is. If you like it, y'all can do it.
Right.
Okay.
It was Michael Carruth who slit Butch's throat, and Jimmy Brooks who shot Brett. He also told them that himself and Michael were responsible for the Ratliff home invasion. Jimmy Brooks had worked for the Ratliff family's son, and so knew that maybe they might have some money. They were doing these home invasions and kidnapping and whatnot to get enough money to set up a hydroponic marijuana system, an underground one, which would look a little something like this. There was a third man too, 28-year-old James Gary, who was involved in the Ratliff home invasion. Michael Carruth never confessed to anything, pled not guilty. However, Butch's blood was 100% on his clothing. Jimmy fully confessed and told the entire story. And so, Michael Carruth was found guilty of capital murder, attempted murder, kidnapping, and robbery. And that was just for the Boyer case. 4 months later, Jimmy Brooks too was found guilty and sentenced to death. James Gary, for the Ratliff home invasion, was sentenced to life without parole. Jimmy and Michael would have been sentenced for that too, but they already had the death penalty. Michael Carruth and Jimmy Brooks remain on death row. So I will see you as always real soon in the next one.
Well, damn, that's crazy as hell. Brody on death row for what they did. They should be on death row. For one, they took a life and tried to take another life. But Superman came in his body. Something came in his body. God, the spirit, came in his body and said, today is not your day. You need to dig yourself out with all the strength you can, because they done took your boy. And I'm about to put all this strength and might into you. And that's why he was able to pull himself out. So, man, that was crazy. That was real crazy.